So I'm Christina Stanley. For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm the CEO and founder of Fictionary. And we're here today to talk about Inkspired. And Galo Vargas is here with us. And he is the CEO and founder of Inkspired, which is a platform where you can read books, publish books. It's for all writers, creators, novels, serialized novels, webtoons, whatever you want. There's a ton of stuff there. So, Galo, why don't you come on and say hello to everybody?
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Christina, for introducing me. It's so nice to be here with you today, with all of you today as well. So, as Christina was saying, yes, I'm the CEO and founder of Inkspired. We are a community of writers and readers, but it's a platform also where you can write, read, and even publish your stories, publish them serially. They could be novels, so it's entirely on fiction, webtoons, comics, and so on. We are a global community. We have a little bit above 1.5 million users, so it's growing, let's say. And we are across 10 language markets. English is one of the most important ones. The Spanish and Portuguese are up there as well. So that's in a nutshell what Inspired is. And I'm so excited to be here with you today to discuss a little bit more about beta reading and
First thing, I'm going to ask the first question, and I'll go through questions as people put them up in the chat. So, Galo, could we talk about first, what is beta reading?
Sure. So one of the things that we have on Inspired are beta readers. So beta readers are people who wants to provide you with feedback, for your chapters, for your stories. So this happened to me a long time ago when I started writing, that I just wrote like an entire book and nobody ever read it. And then I just gave it to a few friends at the end, basically years after. And then I started having my first feedback of, yeah, it was not going that well as I thought. So normally, I think like the job of beta readers is just to help you with constructive feedback, right? Give it to a few people that are not your friends and family, because friends and family, sometimes they don't want to be too direct, or they just see that everything you do is amazing and beautiful. Like if I give the book to my mom, she would always say it's amazing, right? So beta readers, like the nature of them are people who are not in your network, maybe people who doesn't know you, and they can be more honest about it. But on Inspired, we try to focus only on constructive feedback and obviously to be nice, right? Like we don't want someone to offend you. We don't want someone to say things that are not useful to you. Like, yes, I like the chapter or I don't like it. We want to have more valuable information, more feedback, right? So I think this is a very important part of writer's learning, specifically because all writers, like you, like me, writing is a solitary job at the end of the day. Like it's just you writing in your computer, in your own thoughts, in your fantasy, in your fiction. So having someone else read your stuff, it gives you another perspective. Sometimes it's not the one you're looking for, but all perspectives are actually important. And that can help you decide at the end of the day, you're the author. If you put that feedback on and what you're writing, change things or just leave them as it is. So that's the nature of beta readers for me. I don't know, what are your thoughts, Christina?
Well, first, let's see. Okay, everyone who is ready for beta readers now. Is anybody here that is actually looking for beta readers? Type a yes in the chat if you are. Wilder, yes. Dawn, yes. Philip, yes. Okay, we got lots of people
Oh,
ready for beta readers. That's fantastic. Almost. So then,
almost. I love that.
yeah. So this next question, I'm very close. Fantastic. We've got, are beta readers reading before publishing, and are they not the same thing as advanced reader copy readers? Sorry, Galo, did you hear the question?
Yeah, I thought something happened to my audio. Can you just repeat that, please?
So the question is, well, there's two parts. So I'll give you the first part. Are beta readers reading before publishing?
Yeah. So beta readers, well, the name is beta readers. So yes, normally you can do it before publishing. And on Inspired, normally when you read a story, it must be published. But beta readers, when you make a request, you can send your chapters, and they don't necessarily have to be published. You don't need to publish them either in the platform. You can just use the network. So briefly, I just wanted to say like how it introduce like how it works.
Yep.
So if you join Inspired, Inspired is a community on the platform, as I said, and it's free, right? You can start writing from day one. You just write your chapters, 5,000 words, 10,000 words, it doesn't matter. You don't need to publish them. And then you can just make a request for beta readers. The beta readers is a network within the community. So it's not like everybody of, the 1.5 million people are inside this network. So they have to opt in, they have to apply, beta readers. When you are a beta reader, you also get some bonuses, stuff for actually doing beta reading. So it's in the best interest of everyone, the writer, the readers. And once you make a request, all the beta readers in your language, in this case in English, because we also have beta readers in Spanish, Turkish, French, right, will get a copy of the chapter that you are submitting. You don't send the whole story, you send a chapter, okay? And they have up to 10 days to provide feedback. And the feedback has to be aligned with your request. It's not just like an open chapter, just like open opinion. You can actually do that if you want, but you can also put a request. I want feedback about my main character or antagonist or the dialogues or whatever you think it's best for your chapter or whatever you want to improve. Then they have 10 days and they can put their feedback, make comments, up to 12 comments. You might get them really fast, actually. And then you can upvote or downvote those comments. Because sometimes people wants to be very constructive, but sometimes actually they just say whatever and they don't stick with what you requested. They're just like, hey, I like this, I like that, but it's not really valuable to you. So you can downvote a comment if you don't think it aligns with what you want or your expectations. Or you can also upvote them if you like them. And then after 12 comments, the chapter closes. You can submit it again if you want with a different request. And you can send more chapters. So back to the question, you can do this all day, all day, all the week, all month, and you don't have to publish anything. That's the nature of beta reading, and that's the beauty of it, because it's more for when you are in the process. But sometimes I think this is what Christina was referring to, the advanced copy readers. When you publish and you just want someone to come and be the first, let's say, official readers of what you actually have in that moment published. So the case in serialized fiction is that your story is never like you can have your story always in progress, like published chapter by chapter. So you can have beta readers before publishing, but also after publishing. So I don't know if that answers your question just now.
I think so. That was great. Wilder's question is, how does it compare to, say, Wattpad?
Oh, okay. So yeah, Webpack is a Canadian company, now Korean, actually.
Hmm.
Um, so Inspire is different in many things, in many ways. All of us, we're in the same space. We are, let's say, social publishers. We're a community. You can come, write, publish, people can read your stories. So we do the same things, similar things at the end of the day, but the way we do it, the process, the guidelines, we are all totally different. So you cannot really compare, not even all, like, not only the futures, but I'm talking about like the process, how it works, how you get published, how content is curated, what kind of markets are you looking for. For instance, the case of Inkspired tries to reward you to get you published but also tries to help you build an audience fast. So it's not only let's say a website where you just put your story and it's there and you have to track readers, and Inkspired will try to bring everyone to you and also help you monetize thereafter, right? And we also get you published in other languages, like in Spanish, in Portuguese, and now we have a competition with a partner in Japan and so on. So Wattpad is, I personally think Wattpad is great. I mean, it's one of the biggest in this space. It's just like Inspired, it's totally different from that. But you can use it in the same way, in the way that you can just sign up, it's free, you can publish, it's free or not. But as I said, it just works different.
Fantastic. Okay, now we have a very interesting question from Joan. If my hero is considered a historical member of the bad guys, will this get me thrown off the platform like it did on Wattpad?
I'm trying to look for the question. Where is
It's
it?
quite a ways up because I asked who's ready for beta readers question. So it's from Joan.
John, if my hero is considered, okay, historical member of the bad guys. Oh wow. Well, it depends. So one of the rules that we have is that you don't have to glorify bad things, you know. So I don't want to get too more into details because honestly, we haven't had this issue before. But if you say, I don't know, like someone really, really bad in history, really bad, maybe you have someone in your mind, and then you just try to say, hey, this guy was good, he was right, and whatever, maybe it's not that suitable. But honestly, if it's fiction, if it's entirely fiction, there are movies about these kind of things. So it's free, we're flexible, we review things case by case. We don't
Yep.
just put hard rule on that because at the end of the day, it's fiction.
It's a tricky one, that question for sure. And
Yeah,
we
it's
come across it with our AI software that sometimes something in someone's novel gets rejected and we have to go back to Google and go, okay, but it's fiction, it's a novel kind of thing. So it's always there. One more question for the audience. You said something about multiple languages. Is anyone here writing in a language other than English? And if you are, can you put that in the chat for us? Maybe we're all English here. I know we do have people writing in Spanish, French, Swedish.
Mark. Mark is writing in Spanish.
Oh, Mark's writing in
Yeah.
Spanish. Okay. Oh, Reader's writing in German. While there's
Telepathic.
telepathic. Mark, I didn't know you were writing in Spanish. That's really cool. Very nice.
Wow.
Oh, excellent. Okay, now I got to go back and find the next questions. Okay, Cindy says, you say upload a chapter. Is there a word count recommendation or limit to what I make available to beta readers?
There is a word count limitation for beta readers, not for your chapter in general. So you can publish your chapters. Word count can be anything, can be one word to, I don't know, like 100,000 when you publish. But for beta readers, it must be 5,000 maximum.
Okay.
But as I said, you can make multiple requests. So there's not really a limit on the requests you can make. But the chapter that the beta readers will get have to be 5,000 words max. I mean, the editor itself, when you do this, it will tell you. It will tell you how many words you have, if you pass the limit. So it's just user-friendly. Why would the word count? Because if we have such a long chapter, maybe it would be really hard to have constructive feedback fast. You know, we want to actually be more dynamic, like try to get your feedback within 10 days. But if someone has to read 25,000 words, they will not make it in 10 days. So that's basically it.
Very nice. So is this good for serialized fiction as well then?
Yeah, definitely. It's good for serialized fiction, but not necessarily has to be used for serialized fiction.
Right. Okay. Betty Jo says, are beta readers part of the premium subscription to your service?
Yes and no. So you don't have to be premium to use the beta readers, right? But beta readers, so the way it works is that when you do stuff in the platform, anything, like from clicking like or writing a comment or publishing a chapter or whatever, you start getting credits. And these credits, you can exchange them for things. And one of these things are beta readers, requests for beta readers. So when you have a premium subscription, you just get these, let's say, beta readers tickets without having to do anything. And you have a few per month, depending on your plan. But if you're not premium, you just have to exchange them for credits. There are not as many, honestly. But one of the reasons why we do this is because when you have a community that is a little bit large, like 1.5 million people, if the beta readers start having 1,000 stories per day to review, they will not do it.
Right.
So that's the only thing. You can also purchase them individually if you prefer to avoid either paying for a premium subscription or getting these credits. You just say, I just want beta readers. You can just purchase a ticket, which is not as much, honestly. I think it's under $5. So.
Okay. So the next question from Philip is, are you a publisher as well? So maybe you could talk about that piece of Inkspired too.
If we're a publisher, well, we are a digital publisher at the end of the day. We have now a program called Inspired Originals, which works kind of like a publisher, but we just don't do printed books. Like we just don't have like physical books because we're entirely digital. Inspired is also not a big company, it's small, so our distribution physically will not be as great anyway. But our distribution digitally, it is not too bad, actually. And we have partners that help us to distribute outside of our own platform, like in Japan. And this is happening right now. We had a competition just a few months ago. So the winners are going to be announced in December, and they will be published in Japan. And through that deal, they will actually get printed copies in Japanese. I don't know. Well, so, but yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Very nice. Okay. Does this work for short stories too? This is from Sue.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. You can. We have two types of short stories. Short stories, as they are, like short stories, maybe one chapter, two chapters, or even microfictions. You know, we have a limit with microfictions, like which is very low, like 500 characters. But you can create threads, you know, just like in Twitter. I don't know if any one of you is familiar with Twitter, now X. You know, you can create stories like this, you know, like just snippets, like 500 characters. But you can also have short stories of 40,000 characters. Is it characters? Yeah. So definitely it works. We are quite flexible with all formats. You can also create interactive stories. But you can also create novels up to 100 chapters and so on. So we're working on even audio dramas right now, but that's a little bit in upcoming.
Okay. Next question from Philip. How do you compare to Scribophile?
Scribophile. Oh, I know that one. I have heard of it, but I don't know exactly what they do now. Maybe I can open and check.
Yeah, I can't remember. I haven't looked at them in so long, so I can't help you with that. That's okay. We can come back to that if you want.
Yeah, I have it here now. I can check it, but maybe I will be ready to answer maybe a little bit later.
That's fine. Okay. SK says, I speak bad English only. My stuff on Wattpad usually gets flagged for violence. The world setting is military space opera, so there's plenty of violence, etc. Is that an issue?
Okay, so violence itself, it is not necessarily a problem in fiction. When you get in, I think like the problem there is when you rate and tag your kind of content. If it's very graphical violence like gore and stuff like that, it will be, yeah. If a lot of things are gratuitous, are not, yeah, justified, maybe that could be a little bit tricky, but it's still, as I said before, it's review case by case. But normally, as long as things are tagged correctly, kind of like the age rating and the categories and the genres and the hashtags, that is easier to handle. But yeah, I mean, we have stories for all ages, for in all categories, so we will have to review it. By the way, I just have to say something. Now that we're talking about this topic, and specifically, when you publish on Inspired, right, you can get published immediately, right? You just click publish and it's published. And then you have the link, it's live, you can share the link with your friends, so it's there. But stories that are not verified, when you publish something, the first status is non-verified stories. So stories that are not verified yet, they don't enter our recommendations algorithms. So they're published, but they don't get recommended to readers just yet. So then that's the part when we review the stories and we verify them to see if the content is appropriate or whatever. And if they get verified, then they can get just distributed to the pro. Yes, I think that's pretty much.
Okay, terrific. Carolyn says, so the same beta readers read subsequent chapters, or are they usually read by different ones?
So that depends on the beta reader. Because as I said, when you make a request, your request goes through everyone that speaks the language. And so anyone can be a beta reader. Gotta say that for the beta reader, on the top list, there's always a preference for the authors that they already did beta reading before. Okay, but they can choose not to do the beta reading if they want, or maybe they just miss out because remember they have this 10-day window to do it. And if a story or a chapter gets 12 comments, then it's closed, like the request gets closed. So maybe they just missed out on it. But yes, they can keep commenting on your same story if they are just there and they know, they're aware, they see it, yeah, they can just keep going on.
Okay. Walter's saying he's hearing an echo, but I hear no echo. You sound perfectly good to me. So I just wanted to acknowledge that I've seen your message, but I'm not sure why you're hearing an echo. Lisa asks, you said Inkspire's incentivized publishing. Can you expand on that?
Incentivized, yeah. So we reward like, let's say content creators and authors in general. You know, the more you publish, the more praise you get, the more things you can do, right? If you upgrade to premium, obviously you get a lot of more things faster, but you can also get a lot of those things, those benefits, premium benefits, just by being active in the platform. So basically content creating, and not only content creating, but actually, you know, have quality content, getting your source verified. And if your content is great, it will attract a lot of readers, and a lot of readers means either more sales or more interactions with your stories. So that kind of like increases your rank as an author on Inspired, right? It's kind of like a dynamic community. So readers will support you, you increase visibility, and at the same time you unlock access to other perks and benefits in platforms. So what we're trying to do with this system is to increase the visibility and opportunities for all writers. In my case, I was an emerging writer. Like I was an emerging writer before. I'm still an emerging writer, actually. I'm not like anyone famous. But back in the day, I didn't get any opportunities to get published, you know? And then when you have a community around you where your content gets visibility, you start learning more as an author, but you also unlock other opportunities in real life. You know, I have authors on the platform that have been contacted by publishers or getting a deal, and we also do this on their behalf. When we see that we have hidden gems, you know, and authors that are really going up really fast and their stories are great. So it's not only to stay on Inspire, obviously that's what I would love to, but it's also to boost your author's career in general.
Okay, so I just bounced here. Okay. Demi wants to know, where does Inkspired get their beta readers from?
From our own community. So the beta readers are just Inspired users, and you can opt in. So this is when you sign up as a reader or as a writer, there is a button basically that says, hey, you want to become a beta reader, and you can opt in. Not everyone can opt in immediately. So it's not like from day one, because you need to have certain credits to do it, because we don't want someone completely new just to join it. But yeah, that's how you join. And when you join, you start participating in the network. And then the network regulates itself, because if one reader starts getting a lot of downvotes, they get out of the network. They also get out of the network if they are inactive, right? So that's how we keep moving, we keep people involved. We want to have people there that are participating. So
Okay. Here's a wild question from Kathleen. Can you connect external sites to your Inkspired profile? For instance, uh, website, web store, socials, newsletter signups, etc. She's looking for that big network.
Obviously, yes, of course. So that's what a lot of people do, and that's very nice, very smart, actually. So Inspired as other platforms, as other social networks, we understand that it's just part of your strategy. So first, just like adding to this question, we don't require exclusivity, by the way. So it's not like you come to Inspired and we own your content and you have to be exclusive. No, not at all. You're in control of your content, and your content is yours. You can publish whenever you want. Then you can, yes, you can link your website, your stores, your newsletters, anything you want. There's one rule though that impedes you to publish something that is a teaser, and then they say to unlock this story, go and buy it somewhere else. Because you can also do that on Inspire. You can also buy it there, basically. And we don't want to deceive the readers. Like they're excited, they come to the story, they read, and then they start finding a lot of stories that are incomplete, and they lead you somewhere else. So that's the reason behind it, basically. But you can link, as I said, you can link your web store if you have a store somewhere else, newsletter, signups, whatever you want.
Nice. Very good. All right. Carla asks, oops, just bounced. Carla asks, does Inkspired work with entertainment companies to adapt popular stories into movies, TV shows, or other media?
Well, that's a nice question. And I have to be honest with you, this is what I want to really get involved to, but it's not something I'm doing currently now, with one exception. Um, so with one of the contests that we just had over the summer, one of the winners will get their stories produced either in short films or comics, mangas. So that's something you can get as a prize for winning one of our competitions when we offer this as part of the prize package, right? But it's not something that Inspired produces itself, because we are still a small company, so we don't produce videos, stories. But it's something that I would love to do. I hope to get involved in that sooner than later. But it's not something that we can offer right now, like as of today.
Okay. So here's an interesting question from Dimi is, have any beta readers, has any beta readers enjoyed work and developed into long-term professional relationships with authors?
Yeah, I mean, Inspire is a community, and it's an open community. So people become friends. They make groups. Sometimes they create other groups outside of Inspired. And yeah, so any relationship can develop using social media. So Inspire is no different. You can send messages, direct messages, have a conversation. I don't know. It depends on you. So we don't regulate that at the end of the day. And we actually, if you make a meaningful connection, it's very nice. We will be more than happy to be the place where you met.
Terrific. That's great. Um, So let's talk about beta readers. Oh, sorry, hang on. Cindy says, I'm not sure I understand how having a beta reader read my chapter of my novel allows them to give an accurate evaluation of my work. Could you explain more about the chapter size upload?
Um, where's this question?
It's right
Sorry.
at the bottom if you scroll. It's the very last one. It's Cindy.
Oh
She's got
yeah.
a red icon.
All right. I'm not sure. I understand. Yeah. So this is true, and we have to understand that too. Just imagine you just have a random chapter of your story. Your story has 100 chapters, and you just get chapter 79, and you just go to someone in the park and say, "Hey, read it." So obviously there is no context because then they just know what they are reading. They cannot really evaluate the whole story. So you also have to understand that in the expectations, because sometimes you will start with chapter one or chapter two, but then you are making a request of chapter five, and then you will maybe get comments from people who never read chapter one, chapter two, right? So that is something that you have to manage in the expectation of who is reading. So I think like whenever you make a request, you have to, when you write what you want feedback on, you have to frame it in a way that what you're asking can be unearthed or, I don't know, analyzed within what you are sending. But as I said, the chapter is, yeah, the chapter size, as I said before, it's just 5,000 words. So it's not too short, but it's not too long either. And if you have a chapter that is longer than that and you still wanted to send it, you can always like break it in parts because, as I said, you don't need to have these chapters published. So you can just create 2 draft chapters and send it in parts. Um, yeah, that's basically it. One more thing I think is very important. I was assuming it. So when you do this, when you send requests to the beta readers in our network, it's not that the beta readers get a PDF and they can download your book and read it. No, I mean, they get the content, they get a link, but everything happens within the website. Okay, so if at some point in the future, or maybe the day after you made the submission, or in 1 year, it doesn't matter, you really don't want that version of the chapter still be out there, you can just unpublish or delete it, so you can just remove it and nobody else will have access. So it's not that nobody gets a hard copy of anything or a PDF or anything. So it just happens within the platform.
Okay, terrific. So, my question is, can we talk a little bit about mistakes authors make sometimes when requesting things from readers? So, if I'm looking for a beta reader, what are some of the things to do and some of the things not to do?
Yeah, I think like one of the things that I see often is that people are too broad when asking for beta readers, and they say, "Hey, can you tell me if this chapter is good or bad?" So it is very, very difficult when you ask that kind of question because what are you referring to? You're referring to the grammar, to the spelling, or the story, or the context, or the character development. So then a reader will just tell you in general, I liked it. I think it's nicely written. So you will get a lot of things, but at the end of the day, it will not be so valuable to you. So one of the things that I recommend is to be very specific with the request you write down. People, readers, can still take liberties and give you feedback in all other aspects of your story. But you want something, if you want something specific, that's the best thing to do.
Okay, so if we look at, so my favorite beta reading question I ask is, can you highlight where you skim? Because really what I'm looking for is, are you bored? And quite often readers don't want to say, oh, I'm bored, because it's very insulting to the author. And so my favorite specific question is, tell me if you skim and where you skim. And then well, that's boring. And you got to get rid of it or rewrite it or something with it. So it's very interesting going through your first round of beta readers. And the other thing I think is important when you're doing that is you, not everybody's advice is the right advice for your work. So you want to take about it and think about it. And a platform like Inkspired has the value that you can put one scene in and get feedback from ten different beta readers. And if all 10 say, I don't understand the opening sentence, okay, that's pretty clear. There's a problem with the opening sentence. If one of them says it, maybe, maybe not. And so I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Galo, I think by having multiple beta readers, you can actually look for patterns.
Yes, that's totally right, Christina. I think like when you get comments, and you are the author, because it has happened to me, and one person tells you, this character doesn't make any sense, or something that you personally don't like, right? I think first you just need to put yourself a little bit distant from the story. So it's not you. They are not attacking you.
Yeah.
And especially if you see it repetitive. But at the end of the day, first, you are the author. So you can decide always, you know what, I want to stick with this. But my recommendation is to look for patterns, as Christina was saying. But not always take it with a pinch, like as with a pinch of salt, because it's kind of when you are creating a business. People will just tell you specifically what you should do, but that is not exactly what you should do. You should always gather all the information and put it in the context, and then you make the decision. For example, this character should be male. It should be male, it should be male for whatever reason, but then it will not work in the future because of other chapters or whatever. So you always have to be, like try to make the decisions by yourself. But I want to go back to not getting things personal when someone says something, because what I have seen, especially it happens a lot in the Spanish language, by the way. So someone was writing here in Spanish. People like the wording, the words you use, just one word, even though you don't try to sound rude, can sound rude. And if you take it too personal, maybe that was not the opinion of the other person. Like that's the one that other person didn't want to say or didn't want to offend you. But I think you are there for a reason, and it's maybe for what Christina was saying, looking for patterns. Is this issue being too repetitive? Like you can also ask, do you think this is seen as shocking? Like it is too much or it's too much details. And if 9 persons out of 10 tells you, yes, it is, maybe you should review it. As I said, you don't have to change it. Nobody's going to force you to do it. But it's something, it's information that you gather.
Yep.
This is I would love to have that when I start writing my book, instead of writing like, I don't know, 1,000 pages. And then I would have loved to have someone to spell me into it, like, you describe too much, for example. That was the opinion of my friend when they read it. So better resource for this, actually.
Yep. And it is really important that, you are the artist, so you get to decide. And it's always hard when we get critiqued, but that's why we're getting critiqued, because we want to make it better. So Liesel says, you don't have to have the chapters published. So could I use Inkspired beta readers and then publish on another site?
Yeah, totally you can. Again, what I said before, you're not forced to do anything on Inspired. You're not forced to publish anything on Inspired. You're not forced to have your story exclusive to Inspired. You can just come, sign up, use the beta readers, and publish somewhere else. And using beta readers is free. It just takes these credits that you need to collect to exchange them, or even become a premium. You don't have to publish to become premium or anything like this. So yeah, it's something that you can use for the beta readers if that's what you want.
Okay. SK says, with my writing, I'm happy if my readers tell me they are bored since I write military science fiction, action and pacing are vital elements. If I'm boring the reader, I want to know that because I've obviously effed up the writing. Yep. I think not just for military science fiction, in every story, action and pacing are critical. That something has to happen because if nothing is happening, then it's boring. And pacing, sometimes you want to slow down the pacing. It's not always fast. The reader needs a breather. Even in a thriller, you want the reader to be able to go, oh, this huge chase scene, and then they need to process it and think about it, and that's what the breather scenes are for. Chrome says, "Can I include a summary of prior chapters and if yes, does that affect the word count for the current chapter?"
Yeah, that's a very good question. So people do this because they understand that if you're submitting chapter 5, some beta readers will not know what happened in chapter 1 and 4 to 4, sorry. So they do include some kind of like context prior. Unfortunately, it does count to your word count, towards your word count. So because they still have to read this, right?
So
So
there's
yeah.
a way that to make you practice cutting words and making the context as short as possible
Less
but
is more.
meaningful. Yeah, if you think of, the skeleton blurb for your entire novel, we give you one sentence. It's like that. And maybe a skeleton blurb is all you need. My story is about this. The protagonist must do something, otherwise something bad will happen. And then you put the scene in. And does it, can the person relate? So Philip is making me is challenging me here to make me translate acronyms. I think the question is, are all of the beta reader comments broad, or is there inline comments as well?
Okay, so we have other services for inline comments, but beta readers will just give you their feedback of the whole thing that they are reading. They can mention a line or they can refer to a paragraph or whatever, but they cannot highlight things in there. We have other services in Inspire that lets you highlight things and get specific feedback from the very word they are highlighting. But beta readers are providing comments that are, yeah, let's say broad, but that's why you make a request. You say in my request, I want to specific feedback about this character. So it's not really too broad, but yeah, they cannot be writing line by line. So it's just a comment at the end of the day. And the comment length actually, so you should not expect also like someone will give you feedback of 10 paragraphs. Some people do, I've seen it. They just go really deep into analyzing your chapter. But some people they just need one paragraph to describe what they think to answer your request. So you can get anything between one paragraph because there's a minimum word count that you actually have to write, but they can just go as far as they want when they write their comments.
Okay. It's a very interesting question from Cindy here. Are the notes made by beta readers open to everyone on your site, or are they given privately?
No, they're private. So within the beta readers, when they are beta reading, they can see their feedbacks there, but they only will see 12 maximum. And if they're the first, they don't see anything else. And then when it closes, because the window closed, or because you reach up to 12 comments, then yeah, those comments remain private only to you, nobody else. So it's not public, it's not published, nobody can see them online. No, not at all, it's only you.
Yeah, that's great. Because we all know what it's like to receive comments on our books. Okay, so we've got a few minutes left. Any other questions for Galo before we sign off for today? Burning beta reader questions. Okay, Jennifer says, what are the advantages of publishing on Inkspired, and can you leave a link below? Yeah, I thought I had left a link, but let me see if I can try that again. And Galo, I'll let you answer the question.
Yeah. So Christina just shared with you the link to the premium page. I just want to make a note on that. Um,
I'll
pre
get the straight up page here. Hang on.
no worries. So as I was saying, Inspired is for free. You can sign up and use it for free. And if you see that you need something that is within the premium plans, then you can upgrade to premium. It depends on you. You can do a lot of stuff for free without advertising, right? It's just like a Spotify. Um, but if you upgrade to premium, use the link that Christina just published in the chat and use her discount code because we never do discounts on our premium plans, never. But Christina here is the first one who can share one. So because we have been exploring a lot of things together, and this is very nice. So yeah, please sign up if you want to upgrade to premium. Use that link and use her code. You will get a discount. So answering the question of Jennifer, what are the advantages of publishing Inspired? So it depends on the stage you are as an author, and it depends on your goals, right? So if one of your goals is to grow an audience, Inspire is definitely the best place to be across languages, right? If you want to build a multi-language audience. So we will get you readers. You can also use the beta readers. The beta readers can become actual readers and even buyers at the end of the day if they really like the story. So we're a place like to grow an audience, let's say, have a readership, get in contact with them, build your own mini community, right? And then we also help you to get sales afterwards. But it depends also on the strategy you have as an author, in the stage you are as an author. Inspired was born as a platform for emerging writers, so people who just start writing and they wanted to explore new possibilities, new chapters, new ideas. They wanted to validate it with their readers to see if it's going great or not. That's the reason why it's serialized fiction. But nowadays we have authors of all the stages, right? We have more established authors and they still choose to publish serially. And this is a big advantage because Inspired, as I said, have a lot of tools for publishing serially. Not only to get more readers when you do so, but also to monetize serially as well. So we are very flexible and we have many ways to monetize content. So if this is the stage you are at, you can also check it out. You can create memberships for your readers to subscribe. You can just put a price tag on your book, or you can even sell chapters, for micro payments for 50 cents or $1, one chapter, and they just can pay for chapters if you have readers who prefer to do that. Very popular in Korea, from the guys who bought Wattpad, basically. Yeah.
Okay. We've got some quick questions here. How long is the discount valid for?
Well, Christina's discount code doesn't have an expiration date yet. So,
That's
you
very
can use it
special.
as long as you are part of her community, of course, right? It's exclusive to you guys.
Okay. And what is the discount code? That's the other thing we didn't put up.
Oh yeah, so it's Fictionary 24. I think like Christina can put it
Yes.
in chat or maybe somewhere else when we share this video.
Is that correct,
And yeah,
Galo? I just put it in the chat.
awesome.
Okay, good. Perfect. Thank you for asking those questions. They're very important questions that, we should have done ahead of time, but that's okay. There we are. There was something else I wanted to, okay, so Cindy had an important question. Amazon Kindle Unlimited doesn't allow me to publish my ebook on any other platform. Does putting my full novel in Inkspired conflict with the Amazon rule?
I know about this rule from Amazon Unlimited.
Yep.
So Inspired will not do anything against you because you are not breaching any of our rules. But I don't know what Amazon will say in their side. So I know this rule, they have this exclusivity thing. I know they have the reasons for doing that.
Yep.
But yeah, so we don't
Yep.
do that on Inspired. So.
Yeah, on the other side, Cindy, I would double check that. It's my understanding, but just my understanding that it would be against Amazon rules for Kindle Unlimited. Um, but again, I would check that with them. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Okay, I think, okay, one more question that I missed up here from Lisa. You mentioned inline comments are provided with a different service. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, it is
Okay.
correct. So we do
And
have
what
two.
service is that? And is it free?
Okay, so we do have two other services on Inspire that where you can do that. The first one is free, and is when you invite others to be your personal beta reader. So this is not the beta reader network anymore, because in the beta reader network you are open to all the beta readers in your language, right? So anyone can reply. But this other feature, you invite someone, either another Inspired user or someone that doesn't use Inspired. You just need their email. They will get an email with a link. What they will need to sign up though through that link, and then they can see your chapter as if they were a better reader, and they can highlight things and put comments on each word, on each comma, on whatever. And this is free. You can do it in every chapter, but you have to invite people, right? The other thing is more like a proper service for copy editing. So you can request copy editors to review your chapter, the grammar, spelling, things like this. So they will get a copy also, and they obviously can highlight things for you to correct if you want to. So
Okay. One last question. Daniel says, do unused rewards credits, if I could speak, do unused rewards or credits roll over to next month, or is it for the term of the subscription?
no, no, no. Like the rewards credits, the credits you get when you do stuff on the platform are there forever. Like they don't expire at all. The more you collect, though, it will increase your level. So every time you have like 100 credits or 200 credits or whatever, you increase a level, and level unlocks things. You know, there are things that are available for free for people who are in a certain level, and you can achieve that by collecting these rewards credits. When you are in a premium subscription, you get a monthly amount of rewards credits, and they just credit to your balance. So month by month, every time you renew your subscription, it renews automatically, and unless you cancel anytime, they just accumulate in your rewards credits balance, basically.
Thank you so much for your time today. And obviously, we have a big interest in beta readers in our community, and really look forward to having the opportunity to talk to you again with everybody.